Welcome to Sales and Service TV. I'm Randy Bussey, President of Workforce Development Group, a training and coaching organization that helps companies improve customer service and increase customer retention.
And I'm Jeff Goldberg, the president of Jeff Goldberg & Associates. We're a consulting, training, and inspirational speaking firm dedicated to helping you get measurable and sustainable sales improvement.
So today's question is for you, Jeff, and it's from Mike in Dallas, Texas. And Mike says, it's December and things have started to slow down, so I'm starting to think about what I can do to make next year my best year ever. What advice do you have for me?
That's a great one. I actually have been hearing that a lot. So the first piece of advice is that even though it's December, and I think this is about December 16th, I can't remember exactly today's date, but we're about mid-December, it's not time to give up. There's still time to close business. There's actually still time to make appointments. Now, in about another week, we'll have the week between Christmas and New Year's, which most salespeople consider dead time. It's not. There are some people who are going to be out of work, but there are plenty of people who are still there and they're kind of in a relaxed holiday mode. It's a great time to get in touch with them, even if it's just to talk to current customers, to say hi and touch base and wish them a Happy New Year. Now, in terms of getting off to a great start in 2012, certainly you want to, and you've heard this before, you want to make sure that you write down your goals very clearly for 2012. I usually recommend to salespeople that sometime in that week between Christmas and New Year's that they take an hour or two, shut themselves in a room where they can be completely quiet and write down exactly what you're committed to achieving, and I'm talking very clearly written down goals. The next thing you have to do is to figure out your personal metrics, your personal numbers, and if you're not doing that yet, start immediately. How many times, let's just say you're an outside salesperson that likes to cold call over the phone to set appointments. So you have to figure out, how many times do I have to dial the phone to speak to a decision maker? How many decision makers do I need to speak with to set an appointment? How many appointments do I need to go on to close a deal? And then of course, what's my goal? By knowing those things, you can work backwards to figure out exactly how many, in this case, dials each day, you would need to hit your goal. So by knowing what your goal is and knowing the metrics that you personally have, you can figure out the right amount of activity to do on a daily basis in order to hit your goal consistently. Most salespeople don't do this. Most sales managers don't have their people do it, but it's really, once you figure out that bottom line activity, Randy, in this case, dialing the phone, your life becomes simple. So Howard, if you figure out that, for example, you need to make 20 dials a day in order to make whatever your goal is at the end of the year, then your job becomes simple. Just make those 20 dials a day no matter what happens. Everything else works out. The right amount of activity always results in the right amount of sales. That'll get your year off to a great start and give you a beautiful 2012.
That makes sense. Now, talking about business goals, Jeff, reminds me of New Year's resolutions that we make, for personal reasons, right? I want to lose 10 pounds, I'm going to spend more time with my family, and, those are great goals January 1st, January 15th, but come January 29th, those are by the wayside. So how do we ensure that the business goals that we set actually stick better than the personal New Year's Eve resolutions that we make?
Yes, well, as I know you know, Randy, health clubs make the majority of their money by selling health club memberships that they know that by the end of January, most of the people who signed up aren't going to be there.
Right.
And you also know I've written a book called How to Be Your Own Coach about doing exactly that. How do you achieve your goals? So to make your goals sticky, there are a few things that you can do. The first one is they need to be a stretch, but they have to be realistic. You can't say I'm going to fly to the moon, because unless you're NASA and have a rocket, you're probably not going to get there. So they have to be realistic. They do have to be written down and clearly defined, but you don't just want to write down the goal, you also want to write down why you want that goal. See, it's not just the goal, it's why do you want. For example, most people write down a goal if they want a certain amount of money. Except the fact is, none of us really wants money. What we're looking for is, what does the money do for us? None of us needs more pieces of green paper. What we need is more security, more toys, more fun, more whatever.
Right.
So you have to figure out, what am I working for? What is that goal about? Another thing that works really well is to make your goal public. Let other people know about the goal. If we sit there and hide, I want to lose 10 pounds, I'd rather eat some ice cream. I didn't tell anybody about it, so it's not a big deal. But when you join a Weight Watchers or a Nutrisystem or any of those where you actually speak to somebody on a regular basis, you know you're going to be held accountable. Now, the book is called How to Be Your Own Coach, but the truth is, we all need someone to be held accountable to. That's probably the best way to make sure that your goals don't fall by the wayside by the end of January.
Yeah, I heard an interesting statement. Somebody was trying to lose weight, and they said that their mantra is, nothing tastes as good as being skinny feels. And how could we take how could we take that personal goal and turn it into a business goal? So I think knowing why you're doing something is really important, kind of getting into the root cause.
Yeah.
Or what you're aiming for and why it's important to you.
Here's one more thing. It's very difficult to lose 100 pounds, but it's not hard to lose 5. You want to break your goals into baby steps.
Mm-hmm.
I can lose 5 pounds. Could I lose 100? Of course I could, but that's a tough goal. Take your big goal, break it down into all the little steps, and then go after it. Another thing, you want to be in action. Take immediate action towards your goal, and if you just do one little thing every day,
Yeah.
celebrate it and keep moving forward.
Yeah, and on that note, you know, there's a saying, you don't have to get it right, you just have to get it going, right?
That's great.
Thanks for joining us for today's Sales and Service TV. Join us again next time, and maybe we'll be answering your question.